Okay, we're up to new Perek Daf Ayin, Perek Hamadir. We've been introduced to the first din of the Mishnah we saw earlier. We said that a man is not able to go ahead and say my wife can't have enough tashmish from me because he's meshubit sher Kesuvos v'oina. We said he could say that I want to have enough from her. So in other words, there are ways and loopholes around the Darim that apparently that they could be chal, even though pashtus that they're going against something. So this Mishnah is dealing with a man who's mudar hana that his wife should not have enough from him. So Amad Ishtoi, he makes a neder, and that that his wife should not have enough from him. So that means the tashmish part is not chal, but the mezainis part l'choira is chal. The Gemara is going to ask, what's the difference? He has a mitzvah of share. We saw share, according to one shita, was what is also food. So l'choira, just like tashmish is not chal, this also should be chal. So we're going to have to get the loopholes why this neder should be chal. So ad lamed yoim, up until 30 days, where he's not able to support her because of the neder, because of this neder, now she's going to starve. Yamid parnes, but establish a middleman, someone of parnes who will go ahead and take care of her. The Gemara is going to ask shlucha shalad kamoso. So l'chayra, the parnes is an extension of him. So if he can't do it, then she shouldn't be able to do it either. That he. Yes, and we can more than 30 days. More than that, then 30 days, you should go ahead right and you have to get divorced. That's it. More than that, you can't do. Let's see Rashi here. We can't force him to divorce her because there's no chalos of the neder for the tashmish. However, as we said, Yamid Parnis is shliach sheis parnasa. A shliach, which is going to be problematic, because Rabbi Yehuda says, be Yisrael, he's going to disagree with the Tanakama. We gave her 30 days in a divorce. Rabbi Yehuda said, what? Chodesh echad yikayim, right? One chodesh you keep her, ushnayim, and after in the second yotzav you take ksuba. What exactly the machlokes is? I think the Rabbi, he's giving you one more day. He's giving you the first day of the second month. We'll see what the nafkamina is between the two. If it's a kayin that if he divorced her, he can't take her back. Shnayim, you give her what? 2 months. Yikayim, ushloisha, and the third month, yotzev you think suba in a situation where a man was mother his wife from hana, and this problem is mezainis. The next thing of the Mishnah is he makes the what? She makes the neder, and he's makayim the neder. In other words, a man is able to make an nedarim. And if he hears a neder and he's not mefer, it's as if he makes the neder. So if the lashon is hamader es ishtay, it's mashma that he made the neder. It doesn't mean he made the neder. It means she made the neder, but he was makayim the neder. So it's if he made it, right? Because so he was makayim it. He wasn't made for it. And what was that? That she won't eat any peris. Yaitzev eating ksuba. Right away, you get divorced. Now, look at Rashi. How do I know this from? Echem mikol peris, koinim peri ploini alai, koinim the peris of ploini on me, but who you kayim la. So you see from Rashi that she's making the neder because he is mekayim the neder. So the lashon is a bit ambiguous because it's mashma he made the neder. So you have to learn pshat that he made the neder by being not being made for the neder, being mekayim the neder, and therefore right away you leave. No parnis, you leave. Rabbi Yehuda be Yisrael yom echad, not right away. One day you kayim, shnayim 2 days yotzev yitin ksuba, ubekayin shnayim 2 days you kayim and shloisha yitin ksuba. Again, Rabbi Yehuda being more benevolent, they'll have time to reconciliate and deal with this. Hamadar es ishtoi shloi tiskashe ve'echem v'kolmini, right? And kolmi aminim makes a neder to what? She makes the neder that she's not going to go ahead and use any perfume or any type of samim that they would use. Then yaitzav yitin ksuba. And again, this is speaking where what she made the neder and he was mekayim it. If it's a poor person, shaloi nasin kitzva, a poor person, if you do not give a set time, then you got yaitzav yitin ksuba. But if you give a set time, then you'll have wait until that set time. Right, and the Gemara is going to say, "What's a set time?" Ubashirish, and a woman of wealth who's accustomed to this at shloishim yaim. Right, if she doesn't make a neder longer than 30 days, you won't force him to divorce. Okay, let's focus on the first din of the Mishnah, okay? Because it's really in the Mishnayos, it's 3 Mishnayos over here. So the first thing was Hana. He made the neder. We said l'inyan tashmish, it's not chal, but l'inyan mizoinus, it's chal. The Gemara wants to know why. Just like there's a din of a person has to go ahead and be with his wife, there's a din he has to support his wife. The kivan the meshubed lafred the Gemara, since he is meshubed to her, heichi matzi madala. How can he make a neder that she shouldn't have enough from him regarding achila? Kol kamina the mafgale l'shibudei. Does he have the power to be mafka from a shibud? But now we learned in the Mishnah. She says, "Kainim she'eni oisel lepich," right? She says, "But anything I do should be kainim to your mouth." Lashon of carbon. Ain't it tzarich lahafir? He doesn't have to go ahead and take it off. Why? Because she has to go ahead and work for him. So since she has to work for him, he doesn't have to take it off. Alma kividim b'shabdalei. Since she's meshubet to him, lav kol kamini demafkal l'shibud. She doesn't have the power to be mafka the shibud. Conversely, that was for her to him. What about him to her? Hachanami kivin de meshubidla, since he is meshubid to her to provide food for her. Lav kol kamina demafka l'shibude, right? So l'chayra we have a problem. How is this neder chal that you say a parnes, and if after 30 days after the parnes you get divorced? In other words, once you say that, obviously the neder is in existence. It was chal, but why is it chal? After all, there wasn't a shibud. It should be chal. What do you have to say? Since he's able to say to her, we saw earlier in the Masechta, why does what? He have to provide food for her? Because he gets her maisi yadeha, tit for tat. You give me your workings of your hands, right? 5 shkolim of Shesi, wool, and Yehuda, and I will go ahead and provide for you. So he says to her, he could he's able to say to her, you keep the workings of your hands, and I won't support you. So Nasa, we will view it as if he said to her, so now, in other words, there is a possibility of a workaround over here for the neder to be chal. What's that possibility? He says, listen, you keep your ma'aseh yadayim, I will keep the mezainis. If that's the case, he's not mechuyev to give her mezainis. So since that possibility exists in the realm of relationships, we'll view it, we will view it as if he said it. And since we can view it as if he said it, then it will be chal. Says the Gemara, however, when Isal hold the Rav Huna Amarav, the Amarav Huna Amarav, Yechoyle Isha Shetaima Labaila, since a woman can say to her husband, Eini Nizoinis, don't support me, the Eini Isa, and I won't work for you. In other words, the inverse, right? You know what? I'm doing okay. I'll keep my workings, my hands, you keep your food. Why did we say, if she says that, why can't you be mefer? In other words, I have the same workaround over there. The workaround would be, you keep your mezainis, I'll keep my money. Yet she says, kainim, that my siyadayach, you don't have to go ahead and be mefer. Why? Why can't you say, in other words, you're playing two sides of the fence. We have two conflicting mishnayos, apparently. Why the man, he's able to some way, somehow, make a neder that's chal on the shibud of his mezainis. By a woman, she is not able to go ahead and make a neder to somewhat take away the ma'aseh yadeha, right? Why is that? What's the double standard? Why don't we say the same thing? Just like he can tell her, just like he can tell her, you keep your money, I won't support you. She can tell him, you keep your support and I'll keep my money. Yet we don't say that. We don't say na'aseh, as if we would say that. Says the Gemara. Don't say the Mishnah saying is na'aseh, he could say, he did say ma'aseh yadayim Messiah. In other words, our Mishnah is in Ukimta. Says the Mishnah, Hamada es ishtay milahanis loy. If a person makes a neder that his wife should not have enough from him, meaning I don't have to feed her, and he told her, you keep your ma'aseh yadayim. He told her, speaking where exactly he said, you keep your ma'aseh yadayim, I won't feed you. Then up to 30 days, you have a parnis. And after that, you have to get divorced. So the chalois is in a specific instance. Without that specific instance, the whole parak doesn't begin. It's only beginning with the specific instance where, in fact, he stated unequivocally, you keep your ma'aseh yadayich, and I will keep my mezainis, where he said it unequivocally. And since he said it, he's not mechayiv mezainis. Since he's not mechayiv mezainis, the ned is schal. Since it's schal, we go ahead and initiate the parnes, and therefore what? Now, if it's speaking, phrase the Gemara, if it's speaking where in fact he did say this, parnes lamala, right? What? So why do you need a parnes? In other words, there is parnes lamala. Why are you going to have a parnes over here? Why do you have? In other words, there's a neder. She can't have anah. So why are we providing anything for her? After all, he's not chayiv. Says the Gemara, bidulay safka. We're providing it because there wasn't enough mezainis. Whatever she made was not enough to support her. Whatever she made is not enough to support her. So he said, say ma'aseh yadayich, you go ahead, you keep your ma'aseh yadayim, I'll keep my mezainis. She did not make enough money to support herself. So for that money that she didn't make to support herself, that it's you're providing the parnis to give that extra. Says the Gemara, ibadlei safka, if it's not enough, again, he is meshubit to give her. He's saying, what? You keep it. But if it's not enough, this comes down to she'er, right? Another she'er kusu'oina. He's saying that, but again, once she doesn't have enough, on that he is mechuyev. So if you're telling me the reason you're giving you a parnis is because of the little extra, and that he is meshubit, and the nether wasn't, and the same ma'aseh doesn't apply because the ma'aseh yadayich is not enough. So back to the original question. So therefore it shouldn't be chal. And for the Gemara, Ravashi, the maspekes l'dvarim gedolim, she has enough for big things. She doesn't have enough for what? For little things. Right? And the din of the Mishnah, the parnis is for those little things. So she has enough to live, but there's certain pitchifkas, certain extras that she doesn't have. And as a result, the parnis will fill that in. Now the Gemara has a question on that. These devarim ketanim that you say he has to provide. What are we speaking about? Either a gilaba who, if when they were married, he was accustomed to providing it for her, these luxuries, her gilaba who, she's ruggle in it, and then, right, then you have to give it. The Eloi regila who, and if she's not ruggle and you didn't do it, parnas lamala, why do you have to provide for it? Mamanav shach. In other words, whatever these luxuries are, if they were provided in the marriage, there should be chalais of the nether on it. And if it's not, then there should be. So why I have my nether and yet I'm providing it? Why? It doesn't make any sense. If it's part of regilaba, it's part of the nether. And if it's not regilaba, then why is he providing it in the first place? Like tzricha the regilaba based nasha. She did it in her father's house. These luxuries she did in her father's house. And when she went ahead, and she gave it up when she married him. She went down a little bit, she gave it up. The Armalay, she said to him, or could say to him, Ada idna delay adrason, until now that you didn't make an eder, gal gilna b'hadach. So I gave it up, and I went along with the, but hashta adrason, now you're telling me that Buddha, no, I can't have enough from you. You know what? I don't want to give it up. I want to go back to the daddy's house. Okay? So therefore, that's the case. The parnis is for the Devarim Ketanim, and she has a taina. It's right. I didn't have it when we were married, but now that you made a nod and you hate me, and obviously you want to divorce me, or you want to make a situation that is going to lead to a divorce, right? By making a mudahana, guess what? I want that back. And then, in fact, she's entitled to it, and therefore the parents will provide it. Why this 30 days? It says more up to 30 days, no one knows about this neder. No one knows what's going on. After 30 days, becomes public knowledge, and therefore, after that, she gets divorced. The busha that she has, he has to divorce and give her ksuba. Okay, now, so one teretz we gave, the Mishnah, what's the kasha of the day? How could he go ahead and be mudar hana? His food, he's mechuyev to provide food for her. So we're saying it's speaking the situation where he said, see, my sidayach is on the sayach. You go ahead, you keep your what, you might sidayach for the messiahs. A second teretz. Iba yisema she'edira k'shi arusa. You know when he made the neder? When she was in Arusa. Arusa, you don't have to buy food for. So he made the neder when she's in Arusa, then it's chal. Says Gemara, Arusa mi islay mizaynei, right? So why do you need a parnes? In other words, what's the deal? Let's figure out the Mishnah. If someone makes hana, mudahana, and therefore he can't provide because there is what? There is a chalois of the neder. So up until 30 days, you provide a parnes. What's the teretz? Why is it chal? Because it's speaking with his arusa. Arusa. So it's not mechayim mizonis. They're not living together. Very good. So therefore, it's chal. Frag the Gemara. If it's chal and you're not mechayim mizonis, so why are you providing a parnes? Mashma you are mechuyev, right? What's the parnes doing there? So what do you have the parnes? Says the Gemara. What are we speaking about? Yeah, it's speaking. We had this now for the umpteenth time, right? It's repetitious, right? No, it's 12 months. Comes the day of where he has to provide for her. This was the missionary shine, if you remember. This we had charata. If you reach the time of what? Of marriage, of the second stage of marriage of nisuin, and he doesn't go ahead and accomplish that. If he's married to a kohen, she did truma. Okay, so therefore, since you reach that time, he's mechuyev, and since he's mechuyev, he gets a parnes to take care of it. So we have two terutzim now. One, I is meshubid, has the nedachal. She said, "See my sadak b'zonasayach." Good. Next, we're speaking arusa. Arusa l'chayr was why the parnes because you reach the time in the suin. Why until 30 days? Since there's no shlichus over here, there's no shlichus whatsoever. Why 30 days? Says Gemara, in other words, the parnes will undertake it for 30 days. More than 30 days he won't. So I can't get anyone to do the job. Therefore, you get the boss at 30 days. Okay? Another pitch of go on the second teretz. Shedir kashia rusa v'nisas. He made the neder when she was in Arusa. It's chal because it's not b'chayv in the Zionis, and then he married her. Further, nisas haysavar v'kibla. Why does he have to provide anything? She knew going in that he's not going to provide him the Zionis. So why does he have to give a parnas to her? Right? She savar v'kibla. She agreed to play the game on those rules, the rules he made. That's what I'm not going to provide him the Zionis for you. Says the Gemara, the Amra Kesuvos. She said, I thought shani yichadlu l'kabel. I thought, you know what? I was in love with you and I wanted to marry you. Right? And now, guess what? I wakes up, I'm hungry. I don't make enough money. I'm hungry. I can't deal with it. Right? So she says, so she wakes up over there, and so we'll give her 30 days and then we'll get divorced. Now, where does this come, guys? This comes when she marries a person with mumin. The woman marries a person with mumin, mamuka shkin, and she thought she could handle it. And then she realized she can't, so she's backing out. So, Eimadamrina and Hachi, when do we say that she could back out? That what? Kesuvos, I thought I could handle it, is gabe mumin, right? That's regarding mumin, that the man had mumin, she thought he could handle it, and now she can't. Le'inyam is zoyne, mi amin and Hachi. Le'inyam is zoyne, do we say this? Do we say that what? That she thought she could back out because she could provide her food? We don't say that. It's correct. Like we said before, it's speaking where you reach the time of it's not speaking where you married her. It's speaking where you reach the time of the second stage of marriage, and there's a chiyuv. Okay, so again, just the chazariba. First in of the Mishnah, person's mada is ishtay. Again, we said linyan tashmish, it's not chal, right? Because he's meshubit to her. But linyan hanol linyan zaynis, for the Gemara, l'chayret shouldn't be chal derida, he's meshubit. And for the Gemara, where he's not meshubit, because he told her, what? See, Maisi Yadayach was on a sayach, go ahead, you keep your Maisi Yadayach, and I'll keep my mezainis. So it's chal. We said, why 30 days? Right? We asked the kasha, so why 30 days? We said, Devarim Ketanim, that she wasn't used to having, but now that he decides to go ahead and be mudana, she says, I was had it from my father's house, I want to reenact it and have it again. Okay? Second teretz, Arusa, and reached the time of Nisuin. In that case, since she was not Mechayiv Mezainis, it's Chal. Since she reached the time of Nisuin, he has to provide for her. So you provide a parnas for those 30 days and provide for. Now this parnas, guys, l'chayri he's a shliach. We have a din of shlucha shledim k'moisai. So why is he any better? What are you gaining by that? Right? L'chora, apparently you have the same problem. Fred Gemara Kasha. At shleishim yom yamid parnas. U parnas lav shlichusa ka'avid. Is the parnas not doing his shlichus? Since he's doing his shlichus, then what? Then it should be aser. Shlucha shledim k'moisai. And for the Gemara on Rav Huna, where he didn't appoint the parnas, if he appointed the parnas to be correct, but Omer he mused, he said, I guess the word he mused out loud. Kol hazon eina mafsid. Anyone who provides will not take a loss. He didn't appoint anyone. He mused out loud. Anyone who provides eina mafsid won't take a loss, meaning he'll take care of him. Since he didn't appoint the shliach, good. Says the Gemara. Just because he mused out loud and didn't appoint a specific individual, are you going to tell me that's not a shlichus? You have a Mishnah in Gittin. Misha hayamushlach bebar. A guy's in a bar and he's going to die, and he doesn't want his wife to fall to yibum. V'amar, he says, anyone who hears his voice, yichtayv get liishtoy, should write a get to his wife. What's the halacha? He writes it and he gives it, and obviously that's a shlichus. So you see, not appointing somebody, right, is considered a shlichus. So who adin, if he says kola zon einay mafsid should be a shlichus, and then we should get back to the problem of shluchus shledim kamoisai, and therefore, since he made a neder, he should not be able to provide for his wife. Hachi hashta, there's a big difference between gittin and here. Hasan by gittin ka'amar yichtay. There he said yichtay. In other words, he said he didn't appoint an individual, but he said a specific action. He said yichtay, right? Hacham mikama yazin. Did he say over here, you go ahead and provide? Kalazon, anyone who does provide. Anyone, in other words, there's no instruction. Yichtay, guys, there was instruction, write it. He over there didn't say provide. He mused. Kalazon, anyone who would provide, so there's no instruction. Therefore, what? It's not a shlichus, and therefore the parnas could go ahead and provide for his wife. Fred the Gemara of Amar Avami b'deleka hitiru loymar kol machabe eina mafsid. Okay, now we have a din. We know by din Shabbos that what? If you look at Rashi, b'deleka hitiru loymar b'Shabbos mitosh adam boil al lemoinoi iloi sharisa loy asalach buye. We know a person in a fire le'aleinu who's worried about his objects. It's Shabbos, he can't put it out. The Amir la'akim is asur. So what does he say? He says out loud, kol ha'machabed, anyone who puts it out, ain't a mafsid. Right? Now, b'deleka, mashma, the heter is only b'deleka, where you have the svara of kol ha'boil adam al memoinoi, lemute mai lav lemute ki gavna. Isn't dafka this heter of musing out loud by a deleka, but masha'enkin over here by kol hazon einay mafsid, right, is not acceptable because this would be a shlichus. This would be a shlichus. Says more loy lemute shari suri shabbos. No, it's mir la'akim is asa. So over here they mated a mir la'akim because of the svara of what it's a din the rabbanon, and we want to stop him from putting it out himself. But any other Issa Shabbos, it would not be permitted. Masha Enkein over here, Kolas on in the Farnes, it's not Shlichus, and therefore the Parnes would be acceptable. He would be doing the Shlichus, and therefore his wife would be provided with the things that she needs. Masav Rabba, Hamudahana Mechabeiroi, if someone is Mudahana from his friend, the Ein Loi Ma Yoichal, and he doesn't have what to eat, so Reuven says that Shimon can't have enough from him, and Shimon is starving to death. And Reuven wants to help out Shimon. Let Reuven go to his shopkeeper, that he was accustomed to going to. And he should say, Shimon can't have enough from me. I don't know what to do for him. I don't know what to do from him. That's what he says. Who? No, he's saying the Chenvani gives to Shimon. And then we come collect from Reuven. Right? So we say, you hear this switcheroo. It's a workaround. Here you got, I was Mudana. Reuven feels bad for Shimon. Reuven goes to the Chenvani, that the makoler on the store that he's going to for years. And he says, I made enough. I can't, Shimon's not allowed to have enough for me. But I don't know what to do for him. And he leaves the store. The halacha is, the Chenvani can go feed Shimon, and then collect from Reuven. What's the kasha? Hachahu the shari. Over there, it's permitted, right? because the Chenvoni is not doing any shlichus. Ava kol azon eina mafsid loy. That's mashma that is doing the shlichus. Okay. Says the Gemara, loy mi boy kama. It's a big chiddush. Loy mi boy kol azon eina mafsid dila alma kama. He's speaking to the general world, and he doesn't know who is going to do it. That it's in Torah shlichus. Aval hai by the Chenvoni. Keeping the rogeletz loy. Since Ruvain is accustomed to going to the Chenvoni, the kaazal the kamalei, and he says to him, I would think, command the amalei zil havlei. It's much like he's commanding him, go serve and take care of Shimon. Zil havlei atadami kamash malon. That it's not. In other words, it's a bigger chiddush by Chenvoni than to say kolazon. In other words, what was the kasha? Over here it's permitted, or the other place is not permitted. Adarab, it's the opposite. It's the opposite svara. Over here is more of a svara to say it's not permitted because he's speaking to a specific individual, and that specific individual he's accustomed to. So it's a svara to say he is doing a shlichus. Kamashma not. Kol shekain, where a guy just muses and says anyone who's mafsid does not go ahead and take a loss, you're good. So let's go back to the Mishnah. Let's see pshat in the Mishnah. First thing, a person makes a neder that his wife's not to have from him. We said it's not chal on the tashmish. It is chalwat. It is chal on the small things. It's speaking where he said, "See, my suyadayich b'zman asayich," right? That what you don't go ahead and work for me. I won't give you mizainis. Therefore, it's chal ad lamid yoim yamid parnes. Yes, mikan yoytzev yitin ksuba. You get a parnes to take care of what? The little things that she was not accustomed to when they were still married in a nice situation. And even though they're still married, there's not such a nice situation over here. He laid the groundwork for a divorce by going ahead and making this neder. And now she said, these things that I had in my father's house, I was meichel on, but now I'm not. He provides for that. Why 30 days? Because more than 30 days, you're not going to do it. So that's one pshat. Second pshat, he said it when she was in Arusa. There was no chiv nisainis, so it's chal. I know, no, it's chal. Why parnes? Why do you have to it all? It says, right, because it's speaking where you reach the time of Nisuin, you reach the 12 months of Nisuin that he has to provide for her. Why is he not doing the shlichus? Because he didn't say to him directly, because he mused out loud, kol azon einay mafsid. Okay, I hope guys will hopefully will work out. Eretz Yisrael, we'll see what happens. Hang in there. I got Steve Geller on the case.